This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. It is my habit that I attempt to allow the deputy mayor to run one meeting a year. This is that meeting. Mr. Vassanella, you are chair.
Thank you, Mayor. This work session, regular meeting of Township Council is called to order.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of the Tuesday, November 26, 29 work session, regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was provided as required by law.
Thank you. Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation from Councilman Will Terry.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those generations can build with and make a better world.
Amen.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call, please?
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois? Councilman Galtieri?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Oni Jaka? Councilman Prasad?
Here.
Councilwoman Pruitt? Deputy Mayor Vassanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Hey, we have a couple of commendations, proclamations on the agenda. And the first is for something I think we already know, and that is that East Millstone is a great neighborhood, but we are officially having a proclamation that designates it as a great neighborhood. So, Mayor Kramer, and if there's somebody from the public to come forward also. From East Millstone, don't be shy. Thank you.
Is it because the mayor lives there?
For those of us that you don't know, that is what the village in Franklin that the mayor does reside.
You're an honorary stoner. You can come up.
Stoner.
East Millstoners call themselves stoners, by the way. Not everyone.
Thank you for the clarification, Mayor.
That explains a lot. He's trouble. He's trouble.
Aren't you beyond the limits of East Millstone, Mayor?
I actually am. But my post office box is East Millstone.
So you're an honorary.
Yes. Proclamation, whereas the Village of East Millstone has been designated a 2019 Great Neighborhood by the New Jersey chapter of the American Planning Association, and whereas a 2019 designee, East Millstone represents the gold standard in planning and demonstrates why stakeholder engagement at the local, state, and federal levels matter, and whereas East Millstone is a unique community within Franklin Township offering historic sites and homes, recreation, shopping, and safe multimodal transportation options to its residents and visitors. And now, therefore, I, Philip Kramer, Mayor, on the behalf of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, congratulate the Village of East Millstone on its prestigious designation of Great Neighborhood and encourage all to participate in its rich history of commerce and recreation with its promising future for unique living and sense of place. And one of the leaders of East Millstone, Patty Safran, would you like to?
I will take certificate.
Okay, absolutely.
Building and when you're
Okay. Do you want to say something? Somebody wants to say something. Come on up.
Well, I guess what makes East Millstone a great neighborhood is that we really have a very active and vibrant community. The neighbors come together, and it's all about the people who live there, and it's really great.
All welcome to come visit us. Just respect.
I mean, it is truly, in my mind, the best place to live in America. It's, with the canal, with the little park, and what makes it really great are the community members. They have parties where the East Millstone Crawl, where you start at one house and they're going to go to another and another and another for various parts of dinner.
Parties for any reason, really.
Right. And it really is a community in the old sense. So I love living on the outskirts, in the suburbs of East Millstone. And this is a well-deserved award. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have two awards, the Stewardship Awards, which are given out yearly by the Environmental Commission. I believe they were started about 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, giving out these awards, and we have had quite a bit of excellent companies, people, organizations. Tonight we're recognizing two individual, Dave Triggs, which part of our environmental structure or environmental progress in this town is on the backs of the Environmental Commission. So although things pop up month to month, year to year, it's the ongoing efforts of that commission that really is the backbone of everything environmental in this town. So 24 years of service by Dave Triggs we're going to recognize tonight, and we're also going to recognize a group which many of you, if you have ever watched a council meeting in the last 3 years, are probably familiar with, and that is the task force, Franklin Township Task Force on the Route 206 compressor, Linda Powell, Kara Kuhn, Barbara Cuthbert, Bernadette Mayer, and Kirk Frost. Sorry if I've mispronounced any names. So I think we'll give out the individual one first. And for those of you who don't know, the pipeline, which we hope, the compressor station, which we hope is never built, hasn't been built, and that yet. And hopefully never, and that alone is a small miracle that would not have happened other than for the efforts of many people, many people, but especially the 5 people that we're honoring here tonight. Can't thank you enough for your efforts. So, Councilman Chase and Mayor, I'm not sure if anyone else wants to come down and recognize these individuals. Mr. Andrews is the chairman, still correct, of the Environmental Commission? Yes, and thank you for your service also, Mr. Andrews.
Dave, if you come up, we're going to give the individual award. Stated, Dave has served on the commission for 24 years, and he decided it reads, Franklin Township Environmental Commission 2019 Environmental Stewardship Award presented to Dave Triggs in recognition of outstanding efforts to protect and preserve the environment through 24 years of dedicated service to the Environmental Commission, November 2019. Let me just give a little bio of Dave. I think he's typical of a lot of Franklin Township residents. Into the mic. Okay. Dave has been a resident of Franklin Township since 1985. He is married with 2 adult sons. He served on the Franklin Township Environmental Commission from 1995 until 2019, and the Open Space Advisory Committee from 2008 until the present. He has a BS degree in environmental science, has worked in consulting and the chemical industry as an environmental specialist and lab technician before joining the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection in 1989, where he works today as the department's noise coordinator and County Environmental Health Act coordinator. He has coached both youth baseball and youth soccer in Franklin, enjoys reading and walking his dog. Dave, want to present this award to you, and if you have a few words, we'd like to have you. Okay.
Well, it was my pleasure, really, to serve the residents of Franklin. To be honest, the best part about being on the commission is the incredible people that I've been able to work with, some who are here today. They're just dedicated, talented individuals who give their time to protect, the environment and resources of Franklin. But there are two people who I served with since many years ago. One is Mr. John Clyde, and this guy right here, Mr. Ted Chase, who started pretty much when I did on the commission. And I don't think anybody's done more for this town than this guy right here. And we accomplished a lot over the years, but I think the one notable thing that we did was we created the Open Space Tax Fund, which was overwhelmingly passed by our citizens. And because of that, we were able to preserve not only open space, but our historic homes and marquee parks like Middlebush Park, I don't think would exist today without that tax. So I would like to thank the council for your support over the years. We couldn't have done the things that we achieved without you. And I would like to continue to serve the township on open space. My term expires in December, so if you would be so kind as to reappoint me, I would really appreciate it. Just putting it out there. Thank you all very much.
I'd just like to say that the very first field experience with the Environmental Commission that I had was when Dave led us on a walk through the grounds of what was then a horse farm and is now Middlebush Park, because it's right behind his house. He knew all the trails.
If you would come up, please, all of you. Oh, you're not? Okay. Well, a lot of you know about the Franklin Township Task Force on the proposed William Transco Compressor Station 206 and pipeline expansion. But let me just read their mission statement as sort of give you an idea of what they are doing. And their mission is to make recommendations to the Township Council and to inform the public of activity regarding the Williams/Transco Northeast Supply Enhancement Project, whose plans include a compressor station, Station 206 in Franklin at Trap Rock Quarry, and how this proposed project would impact the environment, health, safety, and welfare of the Franklin Township community and visitors. So we want to try to recognize you in a small way with this award. And it reads, presented to the Franklin Township Task Force Compressor Station 206 in recognition of outstanding efforts to protect and preserve the environment through environmental stewardship.
Yeah, actually, we're the steering committee of the task force, and there's two people who couldn't be here. Kurt Frost, who actually initiated the whole idea of a task force and did a lot of our research and a lot of our writing, and Barbara Cuthbert, who continues to do tons of research, tons of writing, and she also was unable to be here tonight, so we want to make sure we recognize them as well. And thank you very much for the Environmental Commission for your recognition and support, and thank you, Ted, for your ongoing support.
Do you want a picture? Linda, do you want a picture? Want a picture? Connell can take it. Too late.
Mr. Connell has proven himself to be quite the photographer recently, so I think you're in safe hands if you give him the camera, I will tell you. He's sent me some nice ones lately.
We are fortunate to live in a town where we have so many people that are involved in environmental issues and a consciousness of the residents that care about the environment as much as we do. Moving along. Okay, we're at public discussion portion of the meeting. Anybody wishing to speak will have 5 minutes to say whatever they want. Please give us your name and your address when you come up to speak. No yielding of time. And could I please have a motion to open the public session of the meeting?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstained? Okay. Mr. Connell, you're ready to go, please. Go ahead.
Bill Connell, 25 Spring Street. Good evening, everybody. I was actually out running errands for my real value, which is helping the middle school play over the winter. And I said, I haven't been to council, and I wanted to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. And thank you for your service and all that. So that is actually my original reason here, but you know how this goes. I was lucky enough to see Dave get his award. And I've been on the committee for open space for more than one hand. And Dave is a really great committee member. That's one of the things about being on the committee. You come here and you talk and you debate things, but on open space and other things that I do, you get to meet some really quality people and interesting people you normally are too busy to know, and Dave's one of them, and that's what's one of the nice things about being on the Open Space Committee is not only you get to be involved, you get to meet great people like you did. Mr. Bornlacher, I was driving here and a thought crossed my mind. 7-Eleven, Hamilton Street, all right? The entrance, the right turn entrance and the right turn exit, as I perceive it to be. And I thought to myself, I actually do not know the official designation of that intersection. I just described it as I understand it. Can you take, going east to west, a left-hand turn into that off of Hamilton Street? You may not know, but I would like...
So what I know is that there is no intersection because intersections only exist for public streets.
I love you, Bob.
You're welcome. And so it's a private driveway,
Yes.
and it was constructed in such a way to deter people from making a left-hand turn from Hamilton Street into the driveway, so Hamilton Street westbound. And I've had recent discussions with the county engineering department about the installation of a left turn prohibition sign, much like the similar intersection of a private driveway and Elizabeth Avenue by the ShopRite, and it's built in the same manner. And it's meant to be a right-in, right. And I think that there are some people stopping to make a left turn, and that should be prohibited by a sign as well as the physical construction.
It has the effect of, since we're in Thanksgiving, has the effect of cooking Thanksgiving dinner and somebody's standing in the middle of the kitchen doing nothing, okay, or the dog underfoot, because same concept. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connell. Anyone else looking to come forward? Okay. Linda, you want to give us your name and address first?
Linda Powell, 22 Buffett Drive. I don't really have much update from the last council meeting, when we talked about the fact that although on October 25th, the NJDEP was supposed to give their decisions on 3 of the water permits for Nessie, the Northeast Supply Enhancement Project, Williams Transco withdrew those applications, and I believe resubmitted them on October 28th. The one that they didn't withdraw was the floodwater hazard application, which the DEP is supposed to decide on. They asked for an extension on that, and they got the extension to November 28th. We don't know what's going to happen with that. We know that Transco put forward the other applications as if their rationale for withdrawing was that the DEP needed more time, which was not exactly what the DEP was willing to say. So we don't know what's going to happen with this other application. And according to what Barbara Cuthbert reviewed, the new applications are essentially the same. She did not note any changes from the old applications. So we don't know if they're just playing a little time game with us and trying to say that we being the state of New Jersey, are going to not make the decision in time, so therefore they can head it back to the FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So we hope the DEP does act in favor of the environment and the people of New Jersey. And I just want to wish you all, I wanted to say that our next meeting is going to be this coming Monday at 7:30 instead of 8. And we don't have the schedule for next year, but we're going to work that out. We're going to probably pick a different time and day, and we're going to work that out with Mr. Vornlocker. And a happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and hope that next year we have something even more thankful to be thankful for and protecting our environment. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public looking to come up and speak? Mr. Triggs.
David Triggs, 22 Sussex Court. I didn't really come here to talk about this, but since it's open to the public, at the last open space meeting, I brought this up. Unfortunately, the mayor and the township manager were at the League of Municipalities last week, but I've been recently approached by a number of people who've been asking about the possibility of a dog park at Middlebush Park. I think the only dog park in town right now that's open to the public is at Colonial Park. I think there's a private one on Route 27, but I don't even know if that's Franklin. It might be South Brunswick.
It's in South Brunswick. Actually, is owned by South Brunswick now. It's a South Brunswick municipal park.
Right. So I'm just putting that out there. I mean, a dog park is basically just a fenced-in area that people bring their dogs to. I think there's 2 areas at Middlebush Park where it's possible to put it.
So
We can
can
have
I
land use.
answer that one? So it's not big enough. We've actually looked at Middlebush Park, and it's insufficient in size because of the need for rotation of fields, because obviously you can't have the dogs on one field all the time. You have to be able to rotate. But what we have discussed, at least at the committee level, land use has discussed it, is the opportunity that the Consolata property affords us for just that type of facility. In the back, behind the buildings where the Board of Education will occupy the space, there's land that will be unutilized for any other purpose, including playing fields, should the property be developed for that purpose. And there's been a discussion about it there. And I think that it has minimal impact on residents because it really would be tucked pretty far away, but it also affords us the opportunity to have enough space.
Gotcha.
So it is on a discussion topic among the land use committee in the past, and will continue to be as we move forward.
Yeah,
So it's a good idea.
Yeah, I thought size might be a problem, but
That's it. There's just not enough room to rotate fields.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else coming forward.
Is anyone coming forward, Mr. Andrew? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were. Yeah, I thought we had one more.
Good evening, everyone.
Name and address, please.
Stanislav Jarach, 22 Heather Drive. Recently, I was engaged in a very interesting conversation on Facebook posted by Mayor about the prospect of further charging stations to be installed on municipal property. And I'm very fond of electric vehicles. I'm now leading Central Jersey chapter of Electric Auto Association. I've been driving electric for 8 years. So thank you so much for doing this. It's very important to me. But as I was coming in here, what I noticed that those 2 spots for charging were both occupied, and there were another 2 vehicles waiting. And I got a conversation with the gentleman with the vehicle that he said he has just 2 miles remaining and he couldn't plug it in. And what is interesting that the 2-hour time limit is not being really enforced. And actually, I have a question for our manager. So based on, is it true that we really pay only $25 per month for
That's
each?
about the cost. Yeah.
And how much is the utility rate per kilowatt hour? How much?
You're asking me questions that I would no way know. I mean, we pay multiple rates over utility and aggregation through public. So it's called actually a public meeting. I mean, which sounds there's a number of different ways that we pay for electricity. So we're ballparking it here. You have sent me emails. I have not replied to them for specific reasons, and now I will answer your questions here.
Yes.
One, it's on the honor system. There is no municipal ordinance to enforce, so there is no enforcement power because the ordinance would need to be amended to restrict to 2-hour parking. My office is outside that charging station, and I monitor it regularly, and generally speaking, people are there for less than 2 hours. Are there ever times where people are there for more than 2 hours? There certainly are. I think, though, that for the most part, people abide by the fact that the system will only charge your car for 2 hours in a 24-hour period, so therefore there's no benefit to have it there for longer than 2 hours. We've certainly had discussions about extending the enforcement aspect of it, but to be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't seem to be that big an issue, so therefore, I've had conversations with people who, and I've said to them, you realize when you plug your car in, it's only for 2 hours. If you leave it there for 3 or 4, all you're doing is making it unavailable for someone else to plug in. I think that probably the better answer is as we expand these charging stations, there's one on the agenda tonight, $12,000 grant to install another one at Middlebush Park. And there'll be another one, and we're going to move and look to include them in our capital budget plan for 2020 for a charging station outside the library. And so that this is a program that, and they are included, charging stations are included in the construction of the Little League field parking lot, which was the contract was just awarded and is about to be constructed over the winter, and also a charging station in the youth center parking lot as well. So as we begin, we're going to have to look at the possibility of making it so that people will have to pay from the start.
Great. You know, and I'm here to just give you guys my opinion. So with the assumption that the rate would be about 10 cents per kilowatt hour, which is deeply discounted. You know, residents pay about 18. So if $25, that makes 250 kilowatt hours, which makes about 1 hour and 20 minutes of use per day, right? Because the charging rate is 6.2 kilowatts.
But understand that it's not around the clock. They come on at 7, they go off at 10. The parking spots are empty most of the time. I mean, they are. It's my office, I look at it. I have my window, looks
Yes.
at the parking spot.
Well, you just, a few minutes ago, you said that it's mostly full, but anyway.
No, what I said was, when they're there, most of the time, people are not there beyond the 2-hour period.
So right now, we have a gentleman who is watching a movie as he's charging. So essentially, he's bringing his living room here, and he's being paid for watching movie. While the other gentleman who has 2 miles remaining, he's standing by and he doesn't know what to do. I wouldn't go that low with 2 miles. I don't know how he managed to do that. That's a separate issue. But there is a way how we can enforce it. What can be done that after the free 2-hour time is expired, it can be programmed that it's billed by minute of standing after that. And that works very well, because people want to make sure that after 2 hours they vacate the spot so that somebody else can use it. So that's one of the suggestions. Another would be that pick up the rush hours and make it actually per fee.
Could you finish up, please?
Yes, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say, but I'm willing to discuss that more. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else from the public like to come up and say anything? All right, I don't see anyone looking to come up, so I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain? Okay, so we move on to number 7, and that's council committee reports and comments, general comments. So, how does the mayor decide this? Let's see, looks down the right to the left. I'm going to start over here with Councilman Will.
Good Deputy Mayor. All right, so as far as committee meetings and reports, the only thing that I've had in the past 2 weeks is fire prevention. So I guess for that, please be careful cooking your turkey this Thursday so that our fire department does not have to go out to and visit your house for that. But other than that, the past week, as it was noted, we were down at I was down in Atlantic City for the AEA conference, which is the Association of Environmental Authorities and the League of Municipalities. So it was good courses to attend and good information. That's it. I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving, safe travels to wherever you have to go, or if you're hosting, I wish you a good holiday. And that's
Thank you. Councilman Ononjaka, would you like to go?
I don't have much to say. You know, last week, we spent our last week in Atlantic City. So, but now I'm wishing my ward and Franklin happy Thanksgiving, and let them eat the turkey and enjoy themselves. That is what I have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I'm very, very sick, so I have really nothing to say, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I got some kind of bad cold. I can barely hear and barely breathe. I was at home drinking soup. That's why I was a little late, thinking maybe that would help. I saw the mayor move away, and that's a good thing. Everybody should
We'll all
back
shift
away.
a little to the right and to the left.
Hopefully, I'm not contagious.
Maybe we can all sit at the
Happy
council
Thanksgiving,
chambers.
everybody.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Feel better. Okay, going down this end, Councilman Wright.
Because our municipal clerk put me under a gag order.
Powers the mayor does not even have.
All I would say is, at the next meeting, we will have our report on our redevelopment agency and our housing authority. We didn't have a land use meeting, the 4 of us for this month. And that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Chase?
Similarly, we haven't had any of the committee meetings that I go to in the last month, and we don't have land use tomorrow night either, which is probably a good idea. One thing I want to mention, an objective for this next year, it's really an objective to move the county on, and that is to get them to do the slight expansions of South Middlebush Road necessary to put in left turn lanes at Jake's Lane for northbound traffic and at Cortelyou Lane for southbound traffic, because those are places where the car wanting to turn left in the face of a lot of oncoming traffic can stop the traffic behind them for a good long ways. And the county has been very resistant to this idea, which we've been bringing up for probably 5 years now. But I hope that with the new makeup of the Freeholder Board, that we will begin to get some action on this. It's something for both Councilman Onajaka and me, because it's actually on the border between the first and third wards. And it's something that I think is needed. If, when I come up to council meetings, you should see the stream of traffic coming south. It's not so much going north at that hour. And it's even worse if you're a little earlier, if we have a 6 o'clock meeting and I'm coming up between 5:30 and 6. And I well remember when we were interviewing candidates for planning consultant to do the master plan in 1999, and there was one prospective consultant who said he lived in Maplewood, but his offices were in Browns Mills, so he knew the township well. He commuted down South Middlebush Road, and I just said, so you're part of the problem. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. Deputy Mayor.
I was going to correct you. Thank you. Councilman Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. The Human Relations Commission will be meeting next Monday, and we've been working on the 2020 census and getting a complete count, so that's been their charge, and they're helping with that effort. Admin, land use, and the Community Foundation had no meetings, and the league was very informative and helpful. Congratulations to Mr. Triggs and the task force. You've come a long way and you accomplished a lot, and just keep it up, and you have all the support of the whole town behind you, and you just are relentless, and that, I think, what will prevail to defeat Williams. So I just keep up the good work, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Prasad. So I will give my comments next, as is the Deputy Mayor. Well, first of all, everyone, do have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for mentioning the dog park. It is true, we had discussed it, because I know I was eager to try to find a spot, and the rest of the Land Use Committee, but Mr. Verlocker filled you in on the reasons why I couldn't go there. We looked at a lot of places, but we're hopeful that something will be able to happen to Consulata property. We have a lot of people. Well, we'll see how many next census tells us. I think we'll be probably at or beyond 70,000. So, and being an animal-loving community, we definitely could use another one. So, in reference to, like Dr. Chase was saying about getting the county in, we have a lot of county roads here, and they have been helpful. Easton Avenue, they've done some improvements, but we hope to get more involvement. Let's just say more of a focus and a priority from the county, having to do with some of these county roads that now are incredible major corridors like South Middlebush and Easton Avenue. So we will definitely be diligent in the upcoming year regarding that. Someone I wanted to remind people of, it hasn't happened yet, keep our fingers crossed, but we do have a totally new ordinance in place for snow removal as far as parking requirements. Please don't forget, remember when we do get, whenever that first snowfall is, that you need to get your car off the streets. The details of that are are online on the ordinance, but basically, if you see it snowing, just please, or even before it may snow, if there's a storm predicted, please try to have the car off of the streets, except for the very few that are exempted. And people who do not have a parking driveway area, parking area for their cars, there is an exemption, but you do have to go through the process and contact the town. So please do it. I don't know if many have. I'm sure the manager will perhaps give an update if there's any issue with that. But keep that in mind. Sooner or later, we will be getting snow. The other thing, please be careful of deer. Every day I see more of them. I think I saw 3 on Easton Avenue in a matter of days. And do call and report if you see one, especially. Do they still give the big red, orange X's on them when they've been reported, Mr.
Yes.
Warnlocker? Okay, so if you see something that does not, please report it. I know everybody thinks the other next person will, but what happens is then it goes through a process, it's marked and hopefully removed quickly. So that's pretty much it. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Just in response, I'm sorry, I forgot about the electric cars. I'm strongly support electric cars, but we have to, I don't want to say we, meaning government necessarily, but hopefully there will be some solution to what, in my mind, unfortunately wasn't well planned out by the industry, where it's a great thing, but the more popular electric cars get, I don't know if the township could feasibly or should feasibly be in the business of doing it. I'm open to any ideas, as I think all of us are, but if they keep getting the popularity years down the road here, hopefully there'll be other solutions, whether they're private or people have more resources at home, et cetera, or gas stations, whatever. But in the meanwhile, I know it's come up, and I know we'll be approaching it as you see something on the agenda tonight. Okay, that's all I have to say, and pass it along to the actual mayor here for his comments.
Actual mayor.
Well, I'm sorry, how did you? Mayor-elect, actually mayor-elect, since now he is ready for his second term. I meant that with the most respect there, Mr. Mayor.
So, went to the league and learned a lot. Came up with some things that I think are going to, or learned about some things that may save us some money, increase economic development, and I'll get into more of that as time goes by and they become a reality. Want to announce, I haven't given it a name yet, but Valentine's Day weddings, and we're going to try again this time, not only to do a kind of a wedding clinic where I can get as many people married on Valentine's Day as possible, but also a pet marriage service, so people can bring in their pets, and I will marry them with all the power that I have, and so that will be for a donation to the animal shelter, of course,
Franklin's gone to the dogs.
Franklin's gone to the dogs. And I tried to do it last year, but the advertising never got out there, so I'm advertising early. And gobble, gobble. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. And also, I forgot to say thank you. It is not a policy by any means that the mayor extends the courtesy that he's done, so I want to personally thank him for keeping us all as a team working forward for Franklin. Thank you. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. First, I'd like to echo some of the sentiments of the council and members of the public as they thank Mr. Triggs for all of his services to the Environmental Commission. My experience with Dave is through the Open Space Advisory Committee. When I became manager back in 2012, I took an interest in the Open Space Advisory Committee, and I have been a regular attendee at their meetings for my tenure here as manager. And David brings not only a great deal of knowledge, but a sense of stability and calm in sometimes rough seas. And it's always appreciated by me as we make our way through all of the discussions about where we should go with our open space programs, and I do appreciate his input, and I look forward to him continuing on that committee in the future. So thank you and congratulations, David. So to address Councilman Chase's concern about South Middlebush Road. Just as a point of information, I will have a meeting on December 4th with staff with the Somerset County Engineering Department. So the original topic was the Amwell Road, DeMott Lane, South Middlebush Road intersections and things that are, we're going to begin to look at that intersection, of those intersections, from a safety standpoint, and those topics have been on the table in the past, and they're back on the table again. But also, I'm going to look to expedite the South Middlebush, Cordeloo, Jakes intersections and the widening and inclusion of turn lanes there. I have been a big fan of that idea for a number of years, and I've had some conversations recently with the engineering staff at Somerset County, and we're going to include that as a priority item for our meeting on next Wednesday. So I'll be able to report back on that meeting at our next council meeting. So that is something I just wanted to let all of you know. We talked about Consolata a little with dog parks. I also want to remind everyone who's either here or watching on television as it runs through its cycles on our cable TV channel. We are looking for your input as it relates to the usage of the community building at Consolata. There is a link to a survey form and where you can give your input. It's on the main page of our website in the spotlight and also on the right-hand column. If you click there, it'll bring you to some plans and where there is kind of a blank slate right now for some improvement to some of the rooms at the front building that we'll have use of as a community center. So I encourage anyone who hasn't done so already to look at that part of the website and look at the use, and if you have ideas on how it might be best utilized, let us know. Next Friday, December 6th, from 6:30 to 8:30, right here in the municipal complex, we'll have our holiday tree lighting in the back of the complex, and then some entertainment and cupcakes and cocoa and candy canes and what have you at the Community Senior Center here in the municipal complex. It's always a fun time. I encourage everyone to come out and watch the tree get lit up and listen to some singing and usually some singing and some dancing and the kids doing some kind of entertainment. And so I encourage everyone to come out for that. And everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. And that's all I have, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. So next item is council discussion items, of which we do not have any. And after that, the approval of the minutes. Present the following minutes for approval by the Township Council. Township Council meeting October 22nd, 2019, and Township Council meeting November 12th, 2019. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Oh, and I'm sorry, it was on the following page. There's also executive session. So I'm going to back up a moment and ask for another motion. Also included in that was the executive session with the Township Council on November 12th. Do I have a motion for all three?
Right. Motion for all three.
Seconded.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes on October 22nd, abstain from November 12th.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. Next, we have the approval of the warrants, and this is the money we pay for all of the things we do here in town, and the warrants in the amount of $17,350,723.79 on November 26, 2019, are presented to Township Council for payment.
Motion for payment.
Seconded.
Thank you. Can we get a roll call for approval of the warrants, please?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay. Public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. We have one of them this evening, and I'll read that. an ordinance canceling balances of certain open space trust fund ordinances of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, in the amount of $441,880.53 of the general capital fund is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do we have a motion for the public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor of public hearing on this on this ordinance?
Aye.
Noes, nays, abstains? Okay. Anybody looking to speak on this ordinance? Anybody have come forward?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I move that the hearing be closed.
Seconded.
All in favor of closing the public hearing on this ordinance?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstain? Okay. Public
I
portion
move the ordinance.
is closed.
Seconded.
Motion to adopt.
I move to adopt.
Okay.
Seconded.
It's been seconded. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call on the ordinance?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, next is ordinances on introduction and first reading. We don't have any tonight. And moving on, we have the consent agenda resolutions. We have several here. Items A through M are listed on the consent agenda portion of the meeting or is presented to the Township Council for adoption. If there's any item that someone would like to remove or make comment on, please let us know now. Okay, seeing that there isn't, I ask, sorry, Councilman Onjako.
Yes, I would like to comment on K, Resolution 19-496.
Okay.
Reference to the vehicle charging grant. The electric car, I know we have a couple of them in Franklin. If we build more, are the residents going to pay for it, or is it going to be part of the grant?
This is a grant for a charging station, Councilman. We received a grant to put in a charging station. That's what this resolution is for.
So that dovetails with J?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, they're both. One is to authorize the grant agreement, and one is to insert it into the budget. You have to do both things.
Right, that's why I looked at it and I figured you missed that part, so. Yeah. Okay.
Mayor Kramer, you wanted to comment on that?
Just kind of a slight aside from this and kind of back to the public discussion, I think I would like admin to take up the policy of, are we going to charge, are we not going to charge, are we going to limit to 2 hours, are we going to enforce that? I think that's something that was brought up and is worth discussing.
Very good suggestion. I was thinking that might be to wait for that to go because it seems like there's still a lot of unresolved questions. But just to clarify, so I'm understanding, Councilman Onjaka, my understanding is, so we're not paying for these. It's not costing anything. Yeah, however, presently, the electricity that would be utilized by the individuals using these, we still, at this point, would be paying for, which is obviously very little, but that would be the only cost of the town, correct, Manager?
Okay, that one, I mean, the individuals will pay for it, right? Or
No, my understanding, and the manager will correct me if I'm wrong, is the grant, we do not pay for, we're getting the money to install them. However, the electric, the small amount for the electric presently, until a new policy is adopted, will be paid for by the
I
township.
think he's asking the same question kind of that I'm asking. Will individuals pay for charging the electricity to charge their car?
So, to the quick answer to that is that there's no definite policy of this town, but in discussing this with staff, with the location of this one, the answer is yes, they would pay for it. This one would be installed in Middlebush Park, and it would be you would have to pay for your charge.
Okay, I stand corrected.
The one is a short-term charging station here at the municipal complex. We offer that service for free for those who come here to do business. during the day, or when we have meetings like now at night, it's on and it turns off. But the one in the park would be, you would pay for it like any other charging station anywhere else.
Just like sticking your credit card in or something to that
It's
effect?
a count that you have for your electric car.
Oh, okay.
Everybody has one. You just put your number, it knows your car.
And just real
You have
quick,
a
before
card.
we pass these, I forgot to mention, the ones that we do have for free, and there was any concern of the time frame of people using them, I don't know if there's any way, there's a technology, where maybe there's a little blinking light after 2 hours. That
Everyone knows it shuts off.
Oh, okay.
This is not
Okay.
something that we should have a long discussion here. The technology is advanced, and they know when their car is turned off.
Thank you, Manager. And thank you for the clarification. I stand corrected on the process
Clarified now.
of the new one. So is there any other questions, or does anyone want to pull a resolution regarding A through M on the consent agenda? Okay. I would ask
Motion for the consent
motion to
agenda.
move. Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, at this time, I'm going to pass the meeting back to the mayor as we are going to head into executive session as I believe and then come back out, but he'll explain this process going forward. Thank you, Mayor.
So thank you. Well done, Deputy Mayor. So the following resolution is presented to Township Council, Resolution 19499, authorized executive session, contract negotiations, CWA 1036. So basically what we're going to do, if this is passed, we'll go into executive session, have a discussion, and then afterwards, we will come out and vote on the contract during, under 16 resolutions to be voted on separately. So often, we go into executive session and we stop taping, and then we just come out and adjourn. There actually will be action taken after this executive session. Hopefully, we won't be there long. Videographer, please hang around. And I assume the video will be edited to cut out the time that we are in executive session, but all actions will be on the video. So do we have a motion to adjourn to?
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconded.
And seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, we will adjourn to executive session and be back hopefully shortly. Moved and seconded,
Roll call.
roll call for that, I can't
Motion to
remember.
go back into public.
Motion to
coming
come
out,
out
I'm
of
sorry.
executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. So we are back in public session, and we now have a motion to be voted on separately. Someone objecting? Okay, motion to be voted on separately. The following resolution is presented to Township Council for consideration. Resolution 19-500, authorized execution of Communications Workers of America, CWA. I never knew that's what it stood for. Local 1036 contract, 2016 through 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Do we have any discussion on the contract? None? So, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, do we have, the motion passes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Be well, Franklin.